Well, everybody, I'm so excited to be here with the legendary Eric Smith, bassist from the San Francisco Bay Area. Eric has played with so many wonderful artists nationally and worldwide. And just to name a few, Rhianna,
Yes.
Layla Hathaway,
Yes.
Justin Timberlake,
Yes.
and I think Janet Jackson too?
Yes.
Yeah, what an amazing resume, and I'm so honored to have you, Eric, here in the studio with us.
Time to be here, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right on. And so we're going to get right to it, and Eric's going to share his story. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself and what it takes to be a professional musician. And so, I'll lead with that, Eric. What does it mean to you to be a professional musician?
Being a professional musician is everything. Basically, obviously, you have to have a certain skill set. You know, you have to do your homework. You have to do your practicing or whatever, and be broad, not just, you know, like you can't just have one style of music, because I mean, especially now with the way the industry is, you know, it's like you can play pop music, but in that show you might play some R&B, some salsa. Like a friend of mine is working with J-Lo right now, and it's like her show is like emotional roller coaster. So you have to be able to, you know, if called upon, you know, switch. And especially for like touring musicians, I don't want to discourage anyone from reading, because I think that's a great tool to have. I mean, you should want to just learn as much as you can. But from a touring perspective, your ears are way more important than your eyes, because I mean, there are things that change in an instance or whatever. Just like their show, parts of Janet's show, that like there will be this like band introduction or whatever, and it changes every night. So you just have to listen and be ready to go with it. So for me, I think, I mean, skill set is very important. You know, your approach to music, you know, what's going to make you different from everyone else.
So I wanted to ask you, how did you get started on bass?
Okay, well, I started off as a drummer, basically. My dad had a quartet gospel group. Me and my brother and my cousin, we were in the group or whatever, so I started off on drums. My dad was playing bass, and my brother was playing guitar. And so my brother was like the golden child. I mean, like, everybody was like jubble, 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 whatever. So it's like my dad would literally just like beat me in the ground, like the whole, like we'll be able, like it'd be a church packed full of people, and the whole time he's singing, it's like, you know, like stumping his foot at me, like basically the way that felt to me was like, you suck, you know what I mean? So,
oh, wow.
So, and then it's like every time I would hear music, I would gravitate towards the bass. Like even if I listen to like old Motown stuff, like My Girl, doom doom boom doom doom, it's almost like the bass is the first thing that made you identify the song. And so then I was like, you know what? I think I want to try that. Then I started like listening to bass players, like a very good friend of mine who played with Janet Jackson in '92, Derek Allen, DOA. He's like probably my favorite bass player like ever. So, and he was playing with a gospel group called the Pearly Gates out of Sacramento. So I would always just be on the front row watching him, just like in amazement or whatever. So what I did, I started just listening to music that I gravitated towards, which at the time was funk music. So Cameo, Slave, it was like, you know, Prince stuff, like in the 80s, you know. And so I just started putting my ears on that stuff, and that's where I learned. I mean, I never had, in my life, I never got one lesson. You know, nobody ever sat down with me like, okay, that's probably why if you look at me play, you're probably like, his fingering is horrible. You know what I mean? It's like, because it's not accurate, you know, like finger per fret. It's just like whatever feels natural. So, so I never had formal training, if that answers the question. Yeah. But I did listen to a lot of bass growing up, and I just practice till my mom made me put it down. It's like, you know, it's too late. I'm like, okay. And now I'll just unplug, and I'll be in there trying to practice. I can still hear that, put it down, you know, so.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
so
but
you're just eating it and breathing it. And
yeah. I suck now, though. I don't practice at all now. I mean, if I'm honest. I remember the first audition that I did for any tour at all was in '92. I auditioned for Sheila E. And I ended up getting the gig, but I was so nervous outside because when I got to the audition, I'm seeing all these musicians that I watched on Arsenio and, you know, like late night television that I'm like, oh my God, that's the dude that plays with, oh my God. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting this gig. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm like discouraged or whatever. Then I'm listening outside, you know, because they call me in later. I'm just listening to all these guys and they're just going for broke. And so one guy, I'm sure everybody knows who he is, Chucky Booker. He was actually helping Sheila run the audition. And so he came outside and he saw me. He was like, hey man, how you doing, man? You ready? So my brother's with me. He's like, man, this dude talking about he wanted to go home. Chucky's like, for what? Why you want to go home? I say, man, it's like all these dudes in here, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, so what do you hear when you're out here? And I'm like, I mean, I hear some bad dudes, you know. Then he's like, so you hear anybody playing pocket? I was like, oh, he said, do that. And then he walked off. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, so literally that day changed my whole career in terms of the way I approach music. Because the reason that people call me Pick Funk is because I used to play with a pick.
Oh, wow.
And I would go crazy, you know what I mean? But it's like, when I realized, like, okay, I mean, literally the way my whole concept is now is like chops will get you laid, pocket will get you paid.
There you go.
You know, I mean, and it's that simple for me. So I went in there with that concept, man, and I ended up getting the gig. And from there, it was just like, you know, to the moon, and basically the whole networking thing. Obviously, you meet other musicians because, granted, artists don't call musicians. You know, like you're never gonna get a call from, you know, from Sting, probably like, yeah, I'm putting a band together and I heard you're a good drummer. You know, it's like, normally it's the music, like he'll hire a musical director, like, okay, I saw a show that you put together and I would love for you to come on board and work with me, you know. And then that musical director will reach out to people that he's comfortable working with, you know, that, like I work with Adam Blackstone a lot. Like Adam does, I mean, he does everybody. He's a bass player himself, but he does like Justin, Janet, like Jay-Z, Eminem. I mean, literally everybody. Like he's the musical director in the industry. So it's good to have people like him that respect what you do, you know, and know that, okay, I can call this guy 24 hours ahead of time, like, look, I'm in a bind, I need you to come in. And I know in those 24 hours that you're gonna do your homework and you're gonna come in ready. So it's those kind of things, you know, that make you marketable, so to speak, where people know that if I call you, I don't have to worry about you not listening to the music or you coming in like, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna make it mine. I hear that a lot. It's like, it's not yours though, so just play it how it is. Mm-hmm. So
what can you expect as a touring musician? You know, the lifestyle, the change in the lifestyle. What is to you, the biggest mistake somebody could make once they get in? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, how do you stay on tour? You know, if you want to make that a career, how do you keep that going?
Okay. Well, to me, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is simple, just being unprofessional. And being unprofessional could be not being on time, you know, not being sharp when you come in, getting a gig and just letting yourself go. Like, okay, I'm in here now, so it's like, okay, for instance, just say if you're on tour with Rhianna, you have a month break, you come home, you get into a bar fight, it goes on your record. Now guess what? You're screwed, because the fact that something's on your record, Canada is one of the strictest countries in the world. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, you know, being on tour where they deny certain people entry because, oh, you had a DUI 8 years ago.
Wow.
Well, I'm not driving in Canada. It doesn't matter. It's like, well, stop treating me like a criminal, or you are a criminal. You know, and so if somebody calls you for a tour and it's going through Canada, guess what? We got to get somebody else. Wow. I mean, it's like, I need whoever's doing the whole tour, who's ever rehearsing, you know, that's who I'm hiring. I'm not going to say, okay, well, we only have 5 shows in Canada, so do all the other days and I'll get somebody else to do those 5 days. It doesn't work like that. So, I mean, so basically anything that you do can affect you long term. So you have to know that you might go into countries where people don't necessarily like Americans. People might pick fights with you. You have to be smart though. Trust me, it's happened. I've been called an N-word on tour from the crowd. You know what I mean? Where you can be ignorant and react to it if you want to. But I'm like, okay, you paying to see me.
Yeah.
You know, good luck with that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
but yeah. So I mean, basically, it's those little things like, I mean, just remaining professional at all times, on, off stage. Know your music. Do your homework. Like, do your homework. It's like in rehearsals are to tighten up the show. Don't learn your music at rehearsal.
Oh no.
Don't learn your music at rehearsal.
Oh, people do that.
Trust me, it's like, I mean, I've called people out. I've called, you know, people. I was like, be like, yo, E, right here. I'm like, why am I killing you?
Yeah.
It's like, no, do your homework, man. You know, and it's like, and we're a team, so it's like we have to be a well-oiled machine. Have to be accountable for each other.
Yeah.
So
I'm a firm believer that rehearsals are to rehearse like beginnings and transitions and endings and arrangement differences maybe from the record, or you know, rehearsal is not the place to come and learn your part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And just know, like again, like we said earlier, just knowing your role, and there's a musical conversation. We all can't speak. It just sounds like noise. You know, it's like let it breathe. You know, so to me, that's the like, so the biggest no-nos are just unprofessional. You know, drugs, alcohol. You know, and I mean, I don't tell people what to do, but I would advise you not to get caught up in the groupie thing, because that can go downhill pretty fast. Just say, if you're like, okay, you know, all these girls are coming at me, so I'm just about to take advantage. And just say one decides to say, he raped me.
Right.
It's not up to her to prove that you did. It's up to you to prove that you didn't.
Right. Wow.
And so it's a lot. I mean, it looks really attractive, but I mean, it's a grueling. Being on tour is not as easy as it may appear. People are like, you guys have it good. All right, where were you when we're rehearsing 3 months? Like 15, 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Where you'll learn the whole show the first 6 weeks, like, oh yeah, we're tearing it down because now, you know, the creative director sees a different vision. Video has to reprogram. You know, choreographers want to do something different, and it's like after we've done all these segues, now we have to relearn it. And I mean, it's a lot, and it's just emotionally sometimes. Like, we've been in rehearsal, like, all right, be at rehearsal at 11 o'clock. Like we're starting at 11 o'clock. Okay, cool. Get there. All right, 5 o'clock, we're taking lunch. Haven't played a note, you know, because there's meetings going on, because you got to think, you have management who has their opinion, you have creative directors have their opinion, you have video world. It's like, okay, well, this is what we're thinking. You have lights, you have the whole production aspect of it. Then you have the artist. So it's just like a room where people are like,
yeah,
you know, and you just sitting around waiting.
Too many cooks.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like, okay. And then how about midnight? Okay, you guys can go. We haven't played one note. And that's actually worse than playing all day.
Yeah.
You know, because you're sitting around in a warehouse because the production is so big and it's kind of smoldering. You know, just like, so it's just a lot. Now, you can get sent home just like you, that dude that's always complaining. Dude, when we gonna play, man, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people would love to be here?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
You're getting paid great for just sitting on your butt all day and you're complaining. So it's the little stuff, man. Just like, hey, like no matter what is going on. Oh, another thing that gets you sent home. Don't ever tell, like, no matter how bad stuff might, just say if your check is late, per diem is late, you know, stuff happens. I mean, you don't talk to the artist. That is a sure ticket home. Even though the artist might be like, look, I have an open door policy. If something's going on, I want to know about it. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Because trust me, management will always trump you. You know, management's like, okay, this guy's a cancer, let's get him out of here.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap this up, and I wanted to just ask you if there was anything else that you'd like to share with folks about what we're talking about being a pro, about the business side of it, you know, just anything you can think of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would just say, man, like, first of all, you know, I'm a Christian. Everybody believes what they want to believe, but, you know, whoever it is that you decide to serve that makes you a better person, keep that first. You know, always try to be a good person on and off the stage, and be professional at all times. Do your homework. You know, don't complain. You know, and have fun. I mean, music is fun. It's like, it's the best career, in my opinion. It's the best career in the world, because you don't, like, you come into a venue with a bunch of strangers, and it's just nothing but love. It's just a party. It's just like, it's you know, we're going back and forth. You know, we're reciprocating great energy, and it's like, you don't know if people are in the crowd who maybe have thoughts of suicide. Like, I want to give up, but maybe something happened that night that makes them want to live, you know. Or it's just like, that's why I would never ever turn down an interview, photo, you know, like somebody wants to take a picture with me, or can I have an autograph? Absolutely. Because I mean, this has nothing to do with me. I mean, because there's a lot of people that can do what I do better, you know, but God has allowed me to get to this place and stay here. So I'm humbled and I'm grateful. So I just think that, you know, the best thing I can tell anybody is remain humble. That's the advice I could give.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody, it's an honor to have you here.
Honor to be here, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for being here and watching and hanging out with us while we talk about what it takes to be a professional musician. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.